Hello, all, and welcome to the Movie Bears podcast. I'm Brad Harris, and each week I'm joined by some of my favorite husky, hairy, huggable homos who love film to talk about movies and, just kind of hang out and talk about maybe other stuff too, maybe. On this show, we love to chat about film, and we love getting together with friends who also like to talk film. So I think we're going to accomplish those two aims on this week's episode. We are actually celebrating our 400th episode of the Movie Bears podcast this week, which is kind of a crazy milestone when you think about it. When we started this show 8 years ago, 20 years ago, whenever it was, I don't know that we thought we'd see episode 50, and yet here we are at 400. So kind of crazy, kind of amazing. We are going to be celebrating quite a bit this episode with a cavalcade of guest stars from shows past who will be hopping on to join us. We'll be catching up with them, see what's going on in their lives. Also, we're going to be asking them what their favorite movie moment of all time is. This is a celebration both of our 400th episode, but also just movies in general. So excited to hear those things. But even before we bring on our cavalcade of guest stars, we have a couple co-hosts that I should introduce, as well as another very special guest who will be with us throughout the episode this week. Jim Pugliavico is with us here in the virtual studio. Sweetheart, how's it going?
I am, and it's great to be here. I'm glad I made it to this big milestone with you guys, and I'm just excited to see what's on the plate this week, this episode. I know we got some surprises, so I can't wait to get into them. So, Hello, everyone.
Welcome, babe. Glad to have you with us. We've got a bunch of folks with us in the live chat already. Hello, everybody. Jordan Riley is here. He says, "Hey, Bears. Hey, Jordan. Good to see you, friend." Hammy is with us. Eric, hey, Hammy. He says, "Happy 400th." Thanks so much for that, Hammy. And Mary, oh my gosh, it's not a podcast without Mary. Hi, Mary. Welcome. It's also not a podcast without Will Lindis, who is also with us here on the show this week. Will, what's going on?
Hey, I don't know what's going on today. Anything happening? We're celebrating. It's 400. We're celebrating other things today, but we're celebrating 400 episodes today. So I'm very, very happy to be here with all of you and everyone tuned in live to celebrate with us.
Well, super excited to have you on this episode, Will. We've got a lot to talk about, and we need a little additional help, I think, in order to do that. This next gentleman, you may remember from the OG MBP days. We have labeled him as the sexy voice of the Movie Bears podcast. Chris frickin' Lopez, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Brad. Congratulating you all on 400 episodes. That is quite the number, and I'm more than happy to be here celebrating with you guys. Thank you.
So thrilled to have you back. I think you were with us for like 150 of those episodes or something, right? So this is your legacy too, my friend. Glad you can be here to help us celebrate it.
You've left an indelible stamp both on the show and on our hearts.
Aww.
You're like a handprint on my heart. Anyway.
It's always fun having Chris here. We got to get him back on for like a regular interview, not interview, but a regular movie review sometime, because I think we have a lot of fun to get another Bears perspective on different movies. And it's been a while since we've done that. I can't remember the last one, but we need to do that again. Yeah.
Yes, we do. Plus, Chris, you're a really great referee when Will and I are like choking each other over Pacific Rim movies. You do a really great job.
Over a Pacific Rim movie. I think we both agreed the second one was trash.
Okay, that's fair. That's completely fair. Yes. Oh, boy. All right. Well, we have a bunch of folks who are already hanging out with us in the live chat. Hello, everybody. So glad to see you all. Thank you from the bottom of our bare hearts for joining us to celebrate this big milestone episode. It's great to get the band back together for this. And man, we've got some fun faces and names that are going to be popping up for you throughout the show to talk about our favorite movie moments. Hey, Sarah, good to see you. Welcome. So glad that you're here as well. So before we start bringing in a bunch of fun guests, we thought it would be fun to have a little conversation, just the four of us and our friends in the chat, and those who may be listening in their car during their morning or evening commute, or heading to the bathhouse, whatever you're doing. If we're keeping you company, we hope that you're being safe, but also that you enjoy the convo. So let's start with our favorite movie moments. Jim, what is yours?
Oh boy. So when we decided to do favorite movie moments, I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. Should be an easy one. But the more and more that I tried to come up with like one favorite movie moment, I knew this was going to be a real struggle, because there are just a lot of movie moments that I've absorbed and really marveled at over the years, and I just jump, like, in my mind, I'll go back to them in different times, like, oh my god, remember that. And I'm not a big movie rewatcher, because those moments are like stuck in my head. There's certain movie moments that are just stuck in my head, and I just went through my list of like favorite movies and tried to pull out a few favorite moments from them and then narrow it down to one. It turns out the one I'm going to pick is one I come back to. I have seen this movie a few times, but it's from the 2006 Guillermo del Toro movie, Pan's Labyrinth. There's several moments in that movie that like come flooding back to me when I think about that movie. And oh, by the way, we probably should mention, we're going to probably spoil some things in talking about our favorite movie moments. I don't know if there's a way to do that without spoiling at least part of a movie, but and this one's sufficiently old and sufficiently out there. If you haven't seen Pan's Labyrinth, I don't know, maybe you don't want to hear this, but go watch the movie first and then come back and listen. But this one it's the end scene of the movie, which the main character, Ophelia, who is a young girl who is gone through some horrific things in this. She's kind of in this war environment. She's got this stepfather that's overlording over everything.
Uh-oh, did we lose Jim?
Sounds like it.
Yeah. I think we did. Hopefully he'll be back soon. I know he was having some technical difficulties earlier, but while we wait for Jim to come back in, man, Pan's Labyrinth, pretty incredible film. There's a lot of different potential moments I can think of from that film. Will, you're of course doing the Doug Jones like hand eyeballs in front of your eyes thing.
Yeah. No, it's a very good pick from Jim. It's such a great movie that is such a I think if you were to try to describe to someone what Guillermo del Toro's style is, there's a lot of words that you could use, but I think you can also say it's like Pan's Labyrinth. And once you sort of like get someone centered in that, it's like, oh, okay, I get this guy's entire oeuvre. It's a cool ass movie that holds up.
Yeah, I think Pan's Labyrinth is definitely one of the more successful Guillermo del Toro just franchises, or not franchises, but just accomplishments, and really makes that fantastical just so real, and so like just you can touch it. Everything just seems so so physical, even though it's just this totally bizarre out there stuff, and that really appeals to me personally.
Oh my gosh, so totally. And Steve, oh my God, Steve, we may hear from Steve a little bit later. Steve says, oh man, Doug Jones as both Pan and the Eyeless Man. Amazingly designed creatures and a phenomenal performance too, to play both of those roles so well. Such good stuff. I know Jim will be back with us shortly, but fantastic movie moment from Jim. Will, how about for you? I know this is kind of a hard ask, trying to find a moment from everything you've ever seen, but did anything stand out for you?
I'm like Jim in that, like, when you immediately think of this prompt, you think, all right, cool, I'm going to narrow it down to like 4 or 5 things, then just kind of think it over and get the last one. But then you realize you have all of cinema to think about. And honestly, when I think about my favorite moments, the first thing that comes to mind is are moments that involve people, like the moment, like I saw this with so-and-so, I saw this at a specific state and time, I saw this when I was a kid and it stuck with me. All of those things are super important, but I really wanted to drill down to one sequence or scene in an actual film as it's presented, seen and heard on screen, that resonated with me then and resonates with me now. And the thing that I cannot, I keep coming back to is one note. It is the first note, the first moment of the Star Wars opening crawl, that first dun, and everything that comes after it is, of course, great too. But I remember going and seeing The Force Awakens, and they had like a full orchestra. I saw it at the Alamo Drafthouse, my home away from home, and they had like whole pomp and circumstance there. And when that got ready to play, and you heard that first duh, just there was this electric energy through the room. And it doesn't matter which Star Wars it is. You can give me another Star Wars now after I didn't like the last one, and you give me that first note again, and I'm going to be a kid all over again, just ready for just give me this adventure, give me whatever's about to come. The entire score, of course, is great. The entire opening crawl, all of that stuff. But I'm going to drill my favorite movie moment down just that first note, because that's the one that just sends shivers all the way through my heart, all the way up my spine, and through every cell in my body.
It's a pretty spectacular moment to pick, Will, because I'm right there with you. Even the prequel movies, which I think are complete and totally not great for me, when I would hear that, duh, like it would just fill me with so much like joy and just like energy, and I wanted to see what happened. And even if the rest of the movie that played out wasn't great, my body is still conditioned. Like anytime I hear that, that's instantly what I feel. In fact, it's funny. We've started playing Dungeons and Dragons. I'm DMing for a group, and I put on my like D&D music combat station, which pulls from a lot of soundtracks, and it played the Star Wars theme. And I'm in the middle of narrating what's happening, and all of a sudden I'm like 5 years old watching The Empire Strikes Back again. It was amazing. So great pick.
Yeah, as like I picked a moment that I thought had really good writing, really good visuals, and I specifically noted that I didn't have music, which I guess is like the last like thing that a movie is going to offer you. And I was like, oh, I hope someone else has like a good music moment to kind of round this out.
And it's especially weird for me because I'm usually not the soundtrack guy. I'd say usually that's Jim, who's the guy that's sort of like picking out the score and saying like, yeah, I really heard this, I heard that. I'm a visual person, just the way my brain works. But that one audio sting, it's the soundtrack starts in, it's just I can't overlook it. It's just, it is forever a part of my soul.
Oh yeah, it's so freaking good. Jim, welcome back. Does the Star Wars opening crawl theme music do anything for you?
Yeah, it does. It kind of gets me revved up for those movies. It all goes back to the original one, right? Where it was like, when we first saw it on the screen, it's like, what is this? Is the weirdest like set of opening credits or title card that we've ever seen, and it's moving off the screen and it's kind of vanishing, going out to like a vanishing point in the screen. It's just it's fantastic. It's yeah, and it really gets me going in one of these movies.
That's awesome. Well, Jim, you missed it. I know you were trying to rejoin due to some technical issues, but we all chatted a little bit about Pan's Labyrinth. If you want to just revisit that real quick for a second, feel free.
No, I mean, just that last moment. I heard you guys talking a little bit about music. The score for Pan's Labyrinth is one of my favorites of all time, and it really comes to the perfect moment there at the end. You have like everything happening in that scene, like scary stuff, tragedy, redemption, just really a beautiful scene. I think it all comes together there, and the music, the soundtrack there really elevates it as well. Just some great filmmaking, and I always come back to that.
Yeah, music and filmmaking is such a huge integral component, I think, right? Because with a lot of these moments, especially, when you hear that music again later, no matter, if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons or cleaning the house, like it's gonna carry you back to that time and that place in that film. So that's very special indeed. Well, Chris, how about for you? What was your favorite movie moment?
It was really hard, as everyone's been saying, to kind of narrow down just this one ultimate pick. So I fell back to sort of my default answer of my favorite movie of all time, and I was like, I'll just pick a moment from there. And then it was kind of obvious. So my favorite movie is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind from 2004. And the moment that I'm talking about is the first real meeting of Joel and Clementine, where wildly after like hanging out for only a couple of hours, they break into like an empty vacation home. Joel is terrified, and Clem is trying to get him to loosen up. And at this point in the movie, this is like the final memory that Joel has of them, their initial meeting. And as the movie goes on, you see their romance in reverse, kind of, but you could also see Joel trying to like sort of see this in a fresh, new light, even though it's really old, and appreciating quirky things about Clem, and having like distance that he can sort of look at himself and how he's acted at this point too. And so this is like all this is taking place emotionally, but it's taking place in this house that's literally like falling apart all around them, as the memory erasure is taking course. And so the house is kind of like falling on its own and cracking, but also the ocean is like rushing into the house, and so there's sand and water at their feet, like in the kitchen. So it's this like total bizarre moment. And so for me, it's the combination of like these visuals. As I said earlier, I'm a very visual person, so seeing this like bizarre location, this too dark house where it seems like they're like all the actors are like illuminated with like weird spotlights or flashlights or something. It just really appealed to the sense of fantasy, and also just plain weird, and also with like a kind of scary edge to it. So it kind of like mixes all this stuff together, and it works really, really well. So Michel Gondry's visuals are just so perfect in this movie. The way they highlight things that seem normal at first and then just get strange. And so I'm totally here for that. And you mix that in with the emotional climax of the movie. Joel's coming to terms with parts of his personality, how he's relating to Clem, and making peace with it as best as he can, to just try and imagine a different ending to their first date. And they're acting, like Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet's acting is so good here. Joel's stewing in his regret, and Clem has a sort of matter-of-fact acceptance to things, but she's not submitting to fate, and true to her character, she does something totally unexpected, which is breaking the memory. And that's when she whispers, meet me at Montauk, which kind of ties the whole movie back to like the opening scene, and then like everything kind of falls into place after that. So the astounding visuals, dialogue that feels genuine, and like this inventive writing, definitely make for like the perfect movie moment for me.
Chris, coming into this one, I was thinking like There's a not small chance that Chris goes with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind because you were I believe the last episode you were on was last June when you came and joined us for our.
That's the one I was trying to think of.
Yeah, because we were doing our like let's catch people up on like the biggest gaps in our cinematic knowledge, and we brought you in as our expert on Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Hell of a pick. That Meet Me in Montauk, I think goes up for me as well as one of like the top tier like movie lines of all time.
So freaking good. And I'd never really seen that movie before. I'm like recalling our conversation from almost a year now ago, and holy crap, we need to have you back more often, Chris, if you're available. But yes, that was just so powerful. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Inside Out. I don't know if folks have seen that movie, but how they kind of deal with like memory and like emotions that are rooted in memory. And seeing Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind kind of broke me a little bit in a good way, I think. And kind of made me, like Inside Out, kind of re-examine some way that I handle emotions. So like, Chris, I just saw this movie less than a year ago, but hearing you talk about it, like I kind of want to go watch it again now. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so. But thank you for that great pick.
Very welcome.
All right. Well, I guess I'll close things out, and then I see some of our special guests are hanging out in our green room already. Can't wait to pull them onto the stage with us and have a little chat about what they've been up to, what their favorite movie moments are. But before we do that, I'll tell you mine. And actually, I'm gonna give you folks a choice. Do you want my favorite like romantic fantasy moment, or my favorite like animated soul filling moment?
I mean, come on, let's have fun with this. Romantic fantasy.
Romantic fantasy?
Right? Yeah. Let's I think that's gonna peel back the most layers of Brad Soul to kind of like see kind of like so that's my vote.
All right.
You're voting away Optimus Prime's death?
I am
Oh, that was hard. That was so hard. Oh my god. Oh man, just watching the light fade from his eyes. Oh man. All right, so romantic fantasy. My favorite movie moment is from The Princess Bride. We have all this great build up through the whole film. Wesley and Buttercup getting together. Then, of course, like Jim said, spoilers. And if you haven't seen The Princess Bride, I'm not sure why you haven't, but I hope you will. But anyway, all these adventures happen. Wesley and Buttercup are eventually reunited, and Peter Falk at the end is narrating, and he's like, "Oh, it's a kiss. You're not going to want to hear about this, young twerp Fred Savage." And Fred Savage is like, "No, Grandpa, like it's okay. Keep reading me the book." So he, narrates, and all the kisses that have happened throughout the history of the world. This one kiss between Wesley and Buttercup blew them all away. And to this day, like, Jim, no pressure, but that's how I like measure romance things for me. We've had those Wesley and Buttercup kisses many times, so I suppose that's why we're married. But just I don't know. There's something about the Peter Falk like line delivery of that. The way he just says, it blew them all away, and then seeing them kiss in the sunset, and man, I cry every time I see that moment in the film. I watch the movie every year on my birthday. It's kind of my tradition. It's a whimsical film. It's, a romantic film. It's a fantasy film. However you want to like genre-ify it. I don't know. But it's a pretty powerful moment for me. So there you go.
As You Wish, I think also goes in the like if I like maybe I'll do like just as a little side thing sometimes, just like my favorite like 100 like lines in movies, and 100% As You Wish makes that list. Like it's so good, and it's As You Wish, 3 words that tell so much, and it informs everything that gets to that scene that you're talking about, Brad.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, Princess Bride just has so many lines in and of itself. I think 50 of your 100 might come from there.
Yeah.
Anybody want a peanut?
Even simple stuff like Fezzik saying "Hello, lady" after he has the
Right?
stuff, like
Oh my
so
God.
good.
I still say quite frequently, like when Scott goes to work, I will say, "Have fun storming the
Have
castle."
fun
as he
storming the
goes.
castle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's probably next to Steel Magnolias. That's probably my most quoted movie, like in my daily lexicon, for sure. Well, that's our 4 favorite movie moments. I'm just catching up with the chat real quick before we bring our first set of guests on. A whole bunch of people have said happy 400. Thank you so much, folks. Such an honor to share this big milestone with all of you. Some call outs, though, about their favorite movie moments. Hammy in the chat. Eric says John Candy's I Like Me scene in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was a good one that stuck. And absolutely, that's such a great freaking scene. Are you folks familiar?
I
No?
am not. I am not, unfortunately. That's one that's kind of a hole in my comedy. It's a comedy, right?
Yeah.
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 It's a kind of a void in my comedy repertoire.
You'll have to get that void filled, Jim.
Yeah, I know. I started
Uh,
down the hole, and I'm like, oh boy, this is not going to go well.
Yeah. Bruce in the chat, hey Bruce, says the trouble ending montage from Harold and Maude is one of my favorite movie moments. Gets me every time. Talk about something that destroys you. Oof.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving that. I'm hearing kind of like a through line with us, chat, some of the other picks from chat. It's these like moments that sort of like wrap a bow around whatever like theme or feeling or whatever it is that you're supposed to get from the piece of work. Like the distillation of that film is the thing that tends to stick with us so well. So hell of a cool pick. Hell of a cool pick.
Definitely. And just a couple other really quick ones. Jordan Riley called out the Iron Man snap, also Deadpool, and he says one of the reasons is it's the same weekend that we actually met Jordan when Jim and I were in Denver. Jordan, that was a special moment for us too. We'll always have Deadpool too, so we love it. All right. Well, I know we've got some other folks sharing their favorite movie moments in the chat. Folks, please keep those coming. We will share those when we can do so, certainly. But we have a couple of guests who have been hanging out in our green room. They've been drinking the free water bottles we have and eating the plate of cookies we have back. I mean, they're browser cookies. I hope that's okay. But
hey, Dad.
Bill Zanowitz and Steve Murray, welcome to the Movie Bears podcast, guys. How's it going?
Hello.
Hey guys, how you doing?
What is this, a crossover episode?
It's a takeover.
Podcasts are colliding. Of course, Bill and Steve are joining us from the Comic Book Bears podcast. You folks have quite the pantheon of episodes yourselves. It is a real treat to have you here to help us celebrate our big milestone 400. So, Bill and Steve, thank you so much for joining us. It's a real pleasure.
Well, thank you so much for inviting us. It's a real achievement to make it to 400. We recently had our 200th episode, though we've been active longer than you guys, but life gets in the way. And the thing I admire most about you guys is that you've been able to basically stick to the weekly format. That I have so much admiration for.
Oh yeah.
Even with the shutdown, you just readjusted the show since you weren't going to have the regular stream of new movies for a short period of time, and that was wonderful to see. And I just admire the three of you guys, and four, because I've actually gone to a concert with Chris.
That's amazing.
Yeah, when I had my engagement in Chicago. Yeah,
I've been on your show.
Yeah. Yes,
that's awesome.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, we've got a
It's like a big
ties us all together.
It's like a big orgy of podcasters.
Well, I've told you this before, Brad. We've always viewed you as a brother podcast.
Same.
Just slightly different tracks of the areas that we cover, but we're all heavy and we're all cute as hell. So
there you go. All the huggable homos, right?
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, Steve, hello to you too, friend. It's been a hot minute. What's going on for you?
Oh, the usual, trying to keep up with my massive comic book piles and books that I just am getting and accumulating day in, day out here.
Those are not beehives, then. They're not beehives.
They are not beehives. They are short boxes filled to the brim with 22-page goodness. But yeah, I mean, just enjoying life in the South here. We are now quail people. We raise quail, my husband and I. Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, wow.
But I still get to read a lot of comics and watch a lot of movies and TV. So
seriously, I look at both of the rooms, both Bill and Steve, and there's a big part of me that's just like, man, I would just love to just like dive into those media piles.
Right?
Just like, I'll be back in a week. I'm consuming media. Gosh, God, that's so cool.
A week? How optimistic of you.
Yeah.
I think we'd have to book you for longer, Will.
Yeah.
No complaints.
Yeah.
Well, now
Let
that
me
you
have to
know.
take a sabbatical. Let me have to
Just
take a
Will. Yeah.
sabbatical, Will.
There you
Yes.
go. Oh,
But congratulations on 400. I mean, that is just a huge milestone, a huge achievement. So that's so awesome.
Awesome.
Well,
thank
and
you
we thank
so
we thank
much.
you guys for the support. I mean, just being a brother, cast, but also the few times kind of collaborated, right, on when movies and comics collide, which they do quite a bit, and it's going to keep going, and I know there's some more collaborations in the future that I'm looking forward to.
Absolutely, for sure.
What do we got coming up? We got a bunch coming up.
I mean, Black Widow.
Black Widow, Shang-Chi,
Yep.
Suicide Squad, not that
Eternals.
Suicide, the other Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Eternals.
Yeah.
All right, let's.
Yeah.
Can we just preemptively book you guys? Like, is there
Absolutely.
is there a sign up sheet where we can just bang, 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 bang?
Sign up sheets in the
outside the
kitchen,
green room.
on the whiteboard.
There we go. Awesome. Well, such a joy to have you both here. I know when we've had you on in times past, it's always been a blast, and we don't get to catch up near as much as we'd probably like. But thanks for being a podcast for us to look up to. I know y'all maybe have less episodes, but like Bill mentioned, you guys have been around for a long time, and I haven't listened to every single episode, but I tune in when I can, and I'm always I'm always guaranteed to like learn something new. But then I'm like listening, and then you're talking about like a comic that I haven't read yet, but is like on my list of things, and I'm like, oh right, this is when people like leave before the spoiler section of our show. I'm like, I got to remember to like come back and listen after I've read it. And it's so great to think, guys, that like 20 years from now, you'll be preserved in audio that we can go back and listen to.
I also think you
Or formaldehyde.
hit on. Yeah, I also think you hit on something, Brad, which is what is probably the most rewarding thing about being part of the podcasting family, is that you have these instances where people say, I would have never have checked out that book, or I never would have checked out that movie if you guys had not talked about it. And there's always such a feeling that comes over you, like, no matter what has happened, it just makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just, and you know what, again, this is also such a supportive community. I mean, there's very few jerks in podcasting. They don't seem to last long,
That's the thing. Like, they don't seem to, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like those, they peter out. But I from you guys' show perspective too, I love, like, I've picked up several new books because of you guys, saying like, oh, you've got to check this out, or, this event is coming up. And I also really love the, you've had quite a few different creators come through your ecosystem, and those are always really fun for me, because I don't tend to read a lot. I read a lot of comic books, but I don't tend to like read a lot of like comic book interviews, like they exist, there's a lot of them out there. So I love diving in with you guys and just sort of hearing like the thoughts behind these people that bring me so much joy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. By the way, Steve, Mary says my parents' ranch was a quail sanctuary.
Oh, so in other words, you're not eating those quail. They're safe. We're not as safe for quail. We do unfortunately eat some of our quail.
Well, I was going to say, before this episode, if you had asked me like how many people, both on screen and in chat, were quail people, I would have said, I don't know, 0, maybe 1. And now it's like, gosh, am I outnumbered? Do I need quail now?
2 quail. 2 quail people.
I mean, I'm just going to say this. Jim can attest. We have a family of quail that like eats from the bird feeders right in front of our like TV den, and we see them all the time. So Steve, we're gonna think of you eating quail, and Mary, we're gonna think of you protecting quail with a sword and a shield.
Make way for the quail cast.
There you go.
Oh, I'm sure there is one.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Well, Bill and Steve, we would be remiss if we didn't set aside a little bit of time to hear about your favorite movie moments. And Bill, let's start with you, if you don't mind. What is yours?
I have to tell you, I so over-prepared because I wasn't exactly sure where we were going with this or how long we had. So I have a whole list of like little anecdotes, but just trailing off of what was at the beginning of the show. Like Will, I mean, there's so many situations where I associate the actual process of going to the film and the experience of viewing it in a public aspect. I mean, just great stories like my dad taking me to see Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke when I was 11, and and then making me tell my mother that we went to see Watership Down. There's so many great stories along those lines. But in terms of actual movie moments that really touched me, I was a bit hesitant to talk about this because it's a situation where the artist is problematic, but I don't think that necessarily means the art is. And one of my favorite films of all time is The Purple Rose of Cairo from Woody Allen in 1984. And just a very quick encapsulation, takes place in Depression era 1930s. And Cecilia is a waitress played by Mia Farrow. And I don't want to give too much away because there's a real magical turn in the movie, but she basically escapes into film. And at the very end of the film, she has gone through the ringer. Someone who is clearly should be the love of her life has left. She's in a loveless marriage with Monk, played by Danny Aiello, who's like your classic, Lower East Side thug in New York City. And she's had about the worst day somebody can have. And while the film itself is a love letter to films, particularly films of that time, what we have at the end is her ending up where we started, her going to see a film, and is such a garbage existence that she's had to contend with. Watching a film up there, and at the end, it's Top Hat with the Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, and you see just the slightest glimmer of a smile at the end. That she's going to be okay because that she has this venue to escape into, and it really is one of the most emotional moments for me ever seeing a film, and it will, to the day I die, the feelings that last scene generates will stay with me. So Bill, I have to say that's mine.
Bill, I got to ask, with these like emotionally resonant moments in film, do you go back and watch the film a lot, or do you kind of relive it, kind of play it in your head more often?
It depends. There's certain films I watch a lot, then there's certain others that I don't, that it's a replay, whether there is like an animal dying or something, that I don't want to put myself through that, but I do want to relive the emotional aspect of it. So It depends. This is one that I'm fine watching again and again. But I understand what you're talking about on the other end. There's certain experiences where you can't really call it enjoyment, yet there was such an emotional reward.
That's awesome.
From what you experienced.
Mm-hmm.
That's great, Bill. Yeah, anytime it can just key into those emotions that way and come back for you is that's a pretty incredible thing. So I'm super jazzed to hear it had that effect on you. Steve, how about for you? What was your favorite movie moment?
Oh, I've got so many of them. My list is as long as Bill's is, and there's
this
just
is an
so
impossible
much.
ask. We understand that.
Exactly. There's so much to choose from. So what I did was I tasked myself to narrow it down to comic books, specifically comic book movies or comic book based films where it just punched me in such a great way. And so there's some amazing ones. I mean, from the original Superman, watching that when I was just a little kid, seeing Christopher Reeve fly for the first time, to Batman, the original Batman with Michael Keaton, not going back to Adam West yet, but Michael Keaton Batman hanging upside down in his bedroom, just being batty. And of course, Hellboy, just being Hellboy, Guillermo del Toro's just beautiful creature design and bringing that character from Mignola to life. But I had to pick X-Men, the 2000 film, the first X-Men film, by another problematic director. Sorry, this is the second one, Bryan Singer. But for me, I think the opening sequence of that, not just Patrick Stewart's narration, where he just sort of talks about the idea of mutation and the development and evolution of humankind, and that weird sort of trippy, credits intro. But the first character we're introduced to is a young boy being shuffled along by German soldiers in a concentration camp. And when this came out, this was 2000. So for one thing, I had been waiting for this movie for years, since I was a little kid reading X-Men comics for the first time. And then, of course, I was there when the X-Men cartoon first premiered and just, loving that. Here I am in college, and I'm, kind of a jaded 19-year-old thinking, there's nothing cool out there anymore. But here's the X-Men movie. But I was also taking a lot of Holocaust literature and German history at the time. So that moment, and it was really of the time, but that moment, seeing the first mutant that you're introduced to, the first character you're introduced to as Magneto, as a young boy in a concentration camp, experiencing his powers for the first time in a hugely tragic part of human history. It was just so powerful and so well done. That scene was just so emotionally just wrenching, watching him being pulled away from his parents and just his emotional outburst causing his powers to manifest for the first time, bending the gates, leading to the gas chambers, towards him, while dozens of soldiers are trying to pull him away. I mean, that was so powerful as the first character you're introduced to in what should be a pretty much, fun, goofy, special effects laden, comic book movie. I mean, I know I was an X-Men fan, so I knew it was going to be just goofy. It was going to be really powerful. These characters are amazing. But that's just great to be the first character you're introduced to is a very powerful moment. So, but yeah, that was one of my favorite comic book movie moments out there. The original X-Men from 2000 by Bryan Singer.
Boy, that brings us back, doesn't it?
That's over 20 years now, which is crazy. Think about that.
Yeah.
Gosh, I know for me, seeing, growing up an X-Men fan, I love comic books, but X-Men was always my go-to book as a kid. And, hey, maybe it's the tie into being gay, there's definitely, that DNA, but seeing those characters on screen for the first time, I mean, I teared up in the theaters, you never thought you would see it. And Steve, did you have a similar experience?
Oh yeah, I mean, just seeing Hugh Jackman. I'd never heard of Hugh Jackman before, but of course, seeing him as Wolverine, I was like, there it is. Yep. There's James Marsden as Cyclops. There's Famke Janssen as as Jean Grey. I mean, it was all there. Patrick Stewart was perfect as Professor X, and Ian McClellan. I mean, as a sinister yet just so absorbing of a villain in that. Just amazing. All the characters were there were just incredible. Anna Paquin. I mean, this was like her first major role after the piano, I think. I mean, she had some other movie roles in between, but here she was kind of more an adult or an older teen role. Gulping a lot. I think that's pretty much her character, was just gulping and like going, a lot. But
everyone has their time,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got to have your moments.
Well, Steve, speaking of moments, thank you so much for sharing your favorite movie moment with us. It's definitely a good one. Bill, Steve, for anybody that wants to maybe, and hopefully they will, hook up with you guys to hear the Comic Book Bears podcast, where can listeners find you fine folks?
Oh, this is like our usual sign off. You can find this on the Twitter and the Tumblr and the Instagram at the Comic Book Bears. The best way to find us is probably our Facebook page, which is Comic Book Bears Podcast. You can also download us through iTunes still. We have a presence on Lips, and we have a presence on Stitcher Radio. And nowadays, with so many podcatching platforms, we're all over the place. But Facebook is probably the best point of contact initially. And we do live streams. When we went to the shutdown, we went video for the first time, and we've consistently been doing it for about a year. About what would you say, Steve? About 3 out of 4 weeks a month?
Yeah, about 3 3 weeks a month. We take 1 week off, and
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we love and adore you fellows so much. Thank you so much for joining us to help us celebrate. And Bill, Steve, can't wait to hear you on the next episode of the Comic Book Bears podcast. Thanks so much.
Thanks you guys.
And again, congratulations on 400.
Oh,
yeah. Thank you guys so much. It's so great having you here.
I just want to keep talking to these guys, so we're having them on next comic book movie. That's it.
Yeah. There we go.
I think for many of us, the next comic book movie is going to be our return to the movies with Black Widow. Very likely. So,
it'll be interesting to talk about that experience.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Well, thank you again so much for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Take care. Have a great show.
Take care, guys.
Great to see you guys. Bye. Oh man, love and adore those fellas so much. So glad we got to catch up with them.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Some of our oldest, we've met a lot of people along the years, but we started this journey sort of adjacent to them as podcasters. So even from our early days, kind of the crossovers have been happening for a while. So I love that they're forever a part of our lives.
Me too. Well, speaking of legendary crossovers, I think we've got one that's about to come up right now. We have a couple of guests with us from the Green Screen of Death podcast. Adrian, Charlie, and Bill Harris. How the hell are you guys?
Fellas, wow. 400 episodes? Congratulations.
Congratulations, you guys. We're really proud of you. And that's a huge number to hit. Congrats.
Well, 400 episodes is almost as many movies as Bill watches during the average film festival.
Right?
We know that Adrian's all over the internet now, but like to get Bill on here, like on video, I think that's pretty amazing. I mean,
it's a special treat.
It's awesome to see him again. Yeah.
It's definitely a blue moon. So here's something I was telling Adrian earlier. You guys started 1 year before us. And you've done 400 episodes. We've done 99. That's how bad we are. Like,
bad.
That means the next one's going to be killer, right?
Oh, it's going to be killer. I don't know what we're going to do if we're ever going to record it, but hopefully sometime.
But here's the thing. You guys cover like a minimum of 25 movies every time you do an episode. So like if we counted movies, we're probably about the same.
Yeah, we always have to catch up. It's terrible. Then I talk for 2 hours, and Adrian just sits there and looks at me.
The lightning round.
Yeah, and I cherry pick the movies that Bill recommends, pretty much.
Oh.
But we were like, well, maybe we should record this weekend. And I'm like, you know what this weekend is, right? He's like, what? I'm like, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, we should record.
he's like, get over here, Bill.
Actually,
Nice.
with Adrian's like voiceover work and all of that, like, could I hear a good like get over here, Adrian?
Get over here.
Oh,
That's the stuff.
I just got chills. Adrian.
Yeah.
Not even practiced or rehearsed. Just on the
I
spot.
can't do that. I'm sorry. Don't even ask.
Well, guys, for our listeners who maybe haven't had the chance to check your show out yet, could you maybe just tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Well, I'm Bill Harris. I'm a insane moviegoer from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. I go to a lot of film festivals. I watch a lot of movies. 1 year, I tried really hard and almost died to watch 150 movies in 1 month. I got to 146, and we were coming home, and I almost fell over, and Adrian had to catch me.
Wow.
It was really bad. That was the Fantastic Fest VIF year. I was in a really good spot until about a week left of VIF.
Yep.
And then I couldn't watch movies anymore. My eyes hurt so bad. But we do a podcast every 6 months.
Approximately.
Yeah, and we talk about everything. And we have something called Movie Club where we watch an old movie and we talk about it. Where sometimes I try to really put Adrian in a bad position by watching a movie he probably shouldn't be watching. But whatever, it's fun.
But it's beautiful. It's beautiful when it works, right? When Bill picks a movie that is like, maybe like a hidden gem or a classic that Adrian hasn't seen, and Adrian like he's blown away by it. I mean, those are kind of like the best ones that I've heard.
And then I make him watch a Serbian film,
which I haven't seen, but I think that one's hard to come by though.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, the uncut version, I think Bill had to like import it from Germany or something like that, right?
Sign of quality.
Yeah.
Hey, you do what you got to do for a good quality film, right?
Damn right.
Well, speaking of good quality film, Adrian, dying to know, what is your favorite movie moment? I know that's a hard question. What have you got?
It is a really hard question, and Bill and I talked about it. We kind of wanted to tie it into film festivals because that's how all of us met. Like I met you guys at South by. I think that was like, what year was that? 2012, 2013, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my favorite movie moment experience was going to Fantastic Fest. I think it was 2012 or 2013. This movie called Afflicted, which I was assigned to cover. For a website called Next Projection, rest in peace. It's no longer around. But the filmmakers also star in the movie. Their names are Derek Lee and Cliff Prowse. They're from Vancouver. I'm from Victoria. Both cities are in British Columbia, about a 90-minute ferry ride away from each other. So I watched their movie. I absolutely loved it and adored it. Requested an interview with them. We sat down in a room in Austin, Texas, where it was pouring rain at the time. And I said, hey, I'm from Victoria, you guys. And we all kind of looked at each other like, oh, we're neighbors, right? And we're like, we talked about how we brought the rain to us. And we just had a really great conversation about the movie. I told them about how I cried during the movie and bonded with them through their movie. And I went to Vancouver International Film Fest about a week later. And I ran into Cliff Prowse there. He's like, Adrian, what are you doing here, man? He's like, do you ever stop going to movies? So it was just really cool to have that interview in Austin, Texas, hang out with them for a little bit, chat, catch up, and like a week later run into one of them back at home. So that was just a really cool moment, and like really just shows the strength of going to film festivals, how it's so much better than, just going into the movies on the weekend or checking out something on demand. And it's those are the experiences that I'm missing greatly these days, the film festival experience. So that was my favorite experience.
Yeah, I had tickets to my first Fantastic Fest this November, and unfortunately had to cancel with all that, so I didn't get to hang out with Will or go to my first Fantastic Fest, but hopefully that'll happen again.
Yes. I mean, guest room's still ready for you.
Can we please all coordinate on like a Fantastic Fest or South by Southwest or something that we can all make within the next couple of years? And
one that actually happens. I mean, we went back to a movie theater for the first time in like 14 months this past weekend to see a film called Nobody, which we won't talk about. But I was sitting there and it felt like a different experience. And I'm like, are we ever going to get that same feeling that we all had before, sitting in a movie theater full of people, enjoying a film and having that kind of communal moment watching a movie? I fear for that. I hope it happens. But it really worries me. And it kind of, when thinking back on the moments with you guys in movies and stuff, it really makes me sad, but it also makes me treasure, those moments a lot more.
I remember at Fantastic Fest, Jim coming out of Bodied and saw me. It's like, oh my god,
bouncing off the wall. Right?
I'm like, oh my god, it was like, so amazing. Yeah, the cool thing about Adrian met you guys at South by, and he came home and was like, yeah, these guys are really cool, and you should check the podcast out. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then it came to the point where I was going to meet you guys, and the cool thing is that completely every expectation I had of you guys was met. You guys are like top tier, and I can't wait to see you guys again. Like we got to do something. Yeah, so I want to do South by.
Oh, yes, it'd be great.
Because it's hardcore, right? And I'm hardcore.
It is. You are so hardcore.
Yeah. So.
You are like my hardcore movie guru, Bill. I won't lie. I aspire. No. But speaking of which, Bill, we're going to take this rare opportunity since we've got you here to ask your favorite movie moment as well. You've seen probably thousands more movies than I ever will in my whole life, so this might be even harder for you. But what did you pick?
My thought process was like Adrian's. I wanted to keep it around like a film fest, and it was my first Fantastic Fest. And I didn't, you hear what Fantastic Fest is, but you don't really know what Fantastic Fest is until you get there. And first couple of days, it was pretty low key, for a Fantastic Fest. Like there wasn't like, people weren't getting like slapped like in the face and stuff like that, or was that year? I forget. That was
yes, it was.
Oh, Chris, they didn't tell you about that, did they?
That was a weird year. And everything was kind of going to plan until the double feature of The Tribe and Tokyo Tribe hit back to back and blew Fantastic Fest apart. The Tribe was just like incredibly violent. Where the hell did this film come from? Other than the fact that Tim League sat beside me the whole movie and giggled because it was so violent. We're all just like, oh my god, this is like the coolest thing we've ever seen. And then we jumped into Tokyo Tribe, which Drew McWeeny introed it and was like, this is the coolest movie I've ever seen. You guys don't know what you're about to watch. And it's this giant fucking weird musical where they samurai each other and kick, and it's all over the place. And I'm just like, holy shit, this is what Fantastic Fest is about. And everybody got out of that screening, and it just killed. Adrian and I were just looking at each other, just like, holy shit, man. I'm like, why didn't I come to Fantastic Fest 10 years ago? Like, this is exactly what I want in a film festival. And then later, a couple days later, fucking John Wick hit.
Oh yeah.
Boom. Nobody knew what that film was. It was Fantastic Fest is so incredible. That's what I love about Film Fest. You find stuff that nobody knows what the hell they are, and all of a sudden they're like your favorite movies of the year. And man, I've had so many awesome Film Fest trips, but man, that stood out. It was just incredible.
That Fantastic Fest was absolutely amazing. No one was talking now, and now everybody knows what John Wick was. But like, it had literally like the trailers and the promo images weren't out. They had just finished cutting it like the week before the festival, so it's just like, oh, whatever, it's a new Keanu Reeves movie. And then we watched it. We're just like, oh my god, people are gonna see this. And I think it might have been that same year that I had one of my favorite moments. Adrian, I know we talk about this story from time to time. There's this animated movie called The Red Turtle.
Yes.
And we're watching it next to Adrian, and I look over. He's just like just like full on crying. He looks over. I'm just full on crying. These two grown men who know each other like essentially through the internet, like just like full on like bonding and crying together over this movie. That's the magic of film.
Try bawling your eyes out watching that movie on an airplane.
Oh my God.
Like, a bunch of people around you wondering why you're freaking out.
Wow.
He's crying over a cartoon, guys.
I have a question for Will. Where were you when Keanu Reeves came through the audience like he owned the fucking place?
I missed that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm so bad about like, okay, got to get to the next screening, that I sometimes miss just like the cool shit that happens at a festival. And I need to open myself up more to just sort of like, if I don't get the best seat, it's okay, because there's a lot of other things to do here. But yeah.
So Keanu Reeves had all these like security people with him, and all of a sudden they kind of just went away, and Keanu walks through the crowd high-fiving people. Like
that's
he
amazing.
owned the place. It was just like, holy shit, this is Fantastic Fest. Wow.
We're going back, man.
Amazing.
We're going back.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Totally.
Need that.
Well, Adrian and Bill, such a pleasure to have you with us, and thank you so much for sharing your favorite movie moments. I don't know if y'all noticed in the live chat, it's been going pretty quick, but there's another special guest with us right now. Sarah Charlie, who says hi, babe.
Hey, Sarah.
And Bill.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey.
Sarah.
The babe is for Adrian.
Yes, that was for Adrian, sweetheart. I know you're used to being called babe by me, but believe it or not, other people use that word too.
Okay.
But Adrian, Bill, how can folks, if they want to listen to your amazing podcast, and I absolutely recommend they do, how can people find you folks?
I think you better do that one, Adrian. I'm not that good.
Yeah, we're the Green Screen of Death. Just search the Green Screen of Death. Basically, anywhere you get podcasts, you'll find us. You just see a green screen. We took Bill took a picture of it once upon a time, and then we just made that our picture for our podcast. It's like it's pretty lo-fi.
Homebrew.
I was at a movie and the projector crashed. That's what you get when a digital projector crashes. A green screen of death.
So that's how we got our name. And we are technically on Twitter at the green_screen, and the Green Screen of Death as well on Facebook. We post there sometimes.
Awesome.
And our last episode was our top 10/20 of last year, featuring the one and only Will Lindis.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Badass show. I loved being on that one with you.
Oh, such a great episode.
That show was 3 hours long and felt faster than the Snyder Cut. Sorry, I'm sorry, Will. I saw that.
That's Will spits his drink everywhere.
I held my beer.
All right. Well, Bill, Adrian, from the bottom of our bare hearts, thank you so much for joining us. 400 episodes is a pretty special thing having you guys with us to help, ring in the occasion. So thanks for making the time, gents. And
yeah, guys, let's do this again for sure.
We want your 100. We're waiting for your 100.
Let's do it.
All right, fellas. Well, good luck with 100.
Right.
We'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks for the invite.
Take care, guys.
Thanks,
Bye, Bill.
guys.
See you, Adrian.
Later.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, I love those guys so much.
Oh, they're great, aren't they?
My movie mothers from other brothers.
Oh, so much so. Well, Chris, we're absolutely going to have to figure out a way to get you like at a Fantastic Fest or South by Southwest, so we can all hang out. Yeah, I know, right? We're going to have to like plan 3 years ahead, guys, I think, and just get like everybody together in one place.
Good news is, Chris, I think our badges carry over to the first year they do them live. So
there you go.
I'll be there. You'll have one. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, speaking of people that we're looking forward to, we have another special guest with us on the show to help us celebrate. Another special guest, believe it or not. This guest has been with us for every Star Wars movie I think we've ever talked about on the show. And he, of course, has been on some other episodes as well. For instance, when we reviewed Magic Mike once upon a time. this gentleman has been known for getting us to take our shirts off during our podcast episodes. And that, of course, is our very own Magic Mike Lovins from the Real Game Movie Show. Hey, Mike, how are you doing?
Hello, guys. Are you able to see me?
We're not. You are a blank screen for us.
This is weird.
Yeah.
Let me turn that off.
Oh wait, something's happening.
Something's happening.
Let me try and turn it back on here.
What do we? I feel like
my camera was working here.
Yeah.
I might just have to go lo-fi here, maybe, and
oh, no worries. That's
switch.
All.
There you are.
There we go.
Yay!
There we go. Woo!
Wait, did it? There we go.
We see you.
I like that camera.
Boom.
Better. I like the camera better. Hey guys, happy 400.
By the way, Feed says, "Oh God, he better have clothes on." Pete, that's what I was expecting. I thought the camera was going to turn on and Mike was going to be like naked from the waist up or more, and I'd have been fine with it just to be upfront. But
literally, it was like a 50-50 chance.
Now. Had I said the thought didn't cross my mind, that would be a lie. But family show.
At least we're not getting kicked off YouTube.
That's true.
Right.
Not today. Not today.
Yeah. There are platforms for this, but this isn't one of them.
Oh, so now you want my OnlyFans?
Well,
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
There's no
Only movie fans.
only movie fans.
Only movie fans. That's a great idea. Well, Mike, it's been a hot minute, handsome, since we've been able to catch up with you. If you don't mind, just for our listeners who maybe are not familiar with your show, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what's been going on lately.
Yeah, so I'm one half of the Real Game Movie Show. And we are a weekly podcast. We talk about the new movies, but every once in a while we do a review on an old queer-focused movie, and we call those Rainbow Rewinds. But otherwise, we take care of the weekly blockbuster, which there just hasn't been enough of that recently. So we did do a little hiatus, but we're back, baby. We're back. We're ready to get this. Get this movie season kicked off, and so okay, so here's what I wanted to mention. This is really cool. I'm looking at the people that are on your show on this particular episode, and I've been on the Comic Bears podcast, so I've interacted with them. I've shared the stage with Nakia. So
seen that.
Yeah, so we're all a big happy family,
right? Not too
We
incestuous,
absolutely
just
are.
a happy family.
And it kind of goes to that point that Bill was making. Like, I think that we, as gay people, as fans of movies, as just all of these little like parts of the Venn diagram that make us who we are. I mean, we find our clan, we find our people, and I'm so happy that you, Mike, are one of those people that we found quite a while ago in our journey, but you've been with us kind of all along, just like, especially whenever we need a shirtless episode, and also when we don't, like you've been like an integral.
Wait,
you've been a part.
sometimes you don't.
Like there are the rare occasions,
Okay.
but you've been a part of that with us, and you're our people, you're our clan, you're our tribe, and that's so special to us.
I'm just gonna say it. Mike got me naked on an episode. You couldn't see everything, because YouTube. But Mike, you have the distinction of being the only person to ever do that. So
That's
Yeah.
the magic of Mike.
Yeah, it's the magic of Mike. Anyone that subscribes to Movie Bears Podcast After Dark, though, I mean, you got the full.
That's for Twitter. Anyway, well, Mike, while we have you here, we gotta know, what is your favorite movie moment?
So I was a lot come to mind very, very quickly. So it's not like I was racking my brain trying to find one. It was trying to narrow it down. Was it the volleyball scene in Top Gun, or whatever? But you would think I was going to go with something from Star Wars, and I figured that's a little too on the nose.
We were going to disqualify all of those. You're going to have to come up with something.
I thought you might. So, so I'm going to take you back to 1986. And I'm 11 and a half, getting close to 12 years old. And my dad takes me to see the Transformers, the movie. And at that time in my life, the only thing that came close to what's the word?
Rivaling.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the one. Star Wars to me was Transformers. And so I was so excited to go see this movie. And I'm still excited every time I see it. But I'm a kid. My dad took me on this rare occasion where my dad took me to a movie. He falls asleep. Optimus Prime dies. And I'm bawling my head off. The pure emotion, the innocence that, just like, how could you do this? It was just like, it's a cartoon character, but damn, it was so heartbreaking to me. It was so heartbreaking to me. That is truly a moment that just always sticks out to me as just one of those life-altering theatrical experiences.
Yeah, I mean, in today's movie environment, and and of course our experiences all added up too. It doesn't seem like such a huge deal, but like I can imagine, like to an 11 and a half, 12-year-old kid back in '86, when they didn't kill off too many heroes like that, and have it feel that final,
right?
Yeah.
like they did in that movie. So that had to be like make a huge imprint on you.
It really did.
It's just such a visceral thing. And Mike, hearing you talk about it, I saw that when I was 5. And so it had a similar impact on me. And, later on in the film, of course, Hot Rod becomes Rodimus Prime. And that's an incredible moment, too, that almost made my list for this episode. But, man, I got to go watch Transformers the movie again because of you, Mike. So
I threw the soundtrack on today while I was cooking dinner because I knew I was going to be talking about this, and I was like, I got to get pumped. Then the Death of Optimus Prime song comes on, and I'm like, shit.
I know. Whenever that comes up for me randomly, I have to hit that like next button, like quick. It's like that boom, boom, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna fall apart. I can't do it.
There's a whole generation of people around our age, like there's like, kind of within a specific like age range where if you ask them like, what is like the first moment that you remember crying in a movie theater, I think the Death of Optimus Prime like is a touchstone moment for a lot of us, because it was the moment where just these disposable kid entertainment, as a lot of entertainment was when we were kids, right? Like decided like, yeah, we're going to give you some real stakes.
Yep. And our Transformers are going to say swear words because it's a movie and they can do that.
Open, damn it, open.
Yep.
What was the other one? Shit.
Yeah, that was from Spike. That wasn't
right.
One of the robots.
Oh, that was from Spike. That's right. Oh goodness. Well, Mike, such a joy to have you with us. Catch up. I don't know if you saw this in the chat, but Adrian Charlie says, Mike, gonna need your availability next week. It's their 100th episode coming up, so maybe we can keep the podcast orgy crossover going, and you can connect with those fellas.
Well, and then I'll have Then I'll have a connection with them too. So absolutely,
it's like in Game of Thrones when Robert Baratheon's talking about making the 8. You just got to make the 6 podcasts or whatever it is.
Right. Well, you guys. You guys are very special to me too. So anytime that I'm asked to join you guys, it's an honor and a privilege, and just it makes my night. It's a fun time. Love hanging out with you guys. And Chris, we watched Game of Thrones at your place, so there's that connection there too. So
oh, I love fests. It's amazing. Mike, real quick before we get you out of here and bring on our next guest. Mike, if folks want to check out the Real Game Movie Show, where can they find you?
I'm going to give our little tagline here. If you want to become a real friend, follow us on Twitter at Real Gay and on Instagram and Facebook at Real Gay Movie Show. So, and that's REEL. Get it right.
Oh, yeah. Do kids today
Fantastic.
know what a reel is? That's the question.
That's the question.
It's
They
right
will
there.
now,
Right
damn
there.
it.
All right. Well, Mike, thank you again so much for joining us. It was a real treat. And give that husband of yours a big hug for us if you don't mind.
I will do that.
Yes.
I will do that. Thank you, guys. Happy
All right,
400.
Mike.
You.
Thanks
Great
so
seeing you, Mike.
much.
Take care.
We'll see you later,
Love
Mike.
you.
Bye, handsome. Oh man, this has been amazing. The cavalcade of guest stars from
Friends.
years past and friends. This has been a total joy. We have one more person hanging out in our green room right now who'll be coming out here in just a moment. You may recognize this gentleman from season 1 of The Voice, as well as on several episodes of the Movie Bears podcast. Nakia, love and adore you,
Hello.
friend. It's been forever. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. What's been going on with you lately, friend?
I've been mostly just knee deep in Sidekick Universe stuff. Getting ready to start scoring season 5. Finishing shooting season 5 of Skeleton Crew. All of my scenes for season 5 had to be shot. And then about to jump gears into Demon Doctor. I'm going to be shooting scenes for that soon, and then scoring that soon. That's pretty much all I do is prep for scoring that stuff and getting finished for season 5. But it's really really exciting. So I can't wait to share it with y'all.
We can't wait. I know we had you on a few months ago with Jonathan, and such a great time catching up with you folks and talking about what was coming up. And now it's like months later, we're finally getting to see some of these things happening, and that's super exciting. Thanks for carving out some time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was great to see Mike on too. It's been just a little bit over 2 years now since he and I shared the stage. It's so crazy to think about, or maybe it's coming up on 2 years actually. It just feels like the whole the world's upside down time wise.
Yeah, the continuum is broken. The continuum has been broken. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was just going through photos of somebody was asking me who was thinking about coming to visit us if Hippie Hollow was open. And I said, it's been a long time since we've been to the beach proper, but we've been in the habit of renting a boat and going out on the lake with our friends. And I was going through photos of that and found some great photos of Chris and Jason and Will when we've been out on the boat. And it's been so much fun. And so I'm kind of hoping maybe there might be a boat moment in my future. So
There needs to be one of my absolute favorite photos that I have is a photo of me and Chris taken on that boat by you. It was just like such a special moment for me. So thank you. I've been smiling so much this episode, and like this just like kind of keeps it going.
Well, Nakia, let us know. We're starting to look at potential travel options. Maybe we can pop down for a long weekend and join you guys.
We're getting the FOMO pretty bad over here.
And somebody this weekend we had a couple of boys over to play some board games, and somebody this weekend was in the backyard. And they go, man, why don't you guys have more parties here? And I said, we had kind of like one big party out here, and it was with some friends. It was really, really memorable. It was so much fun. And that seems like forever ago. But, the next time I come, I'm going to be coming along with some photos of Jim in the wig for Burrito Dreams. Yeah, that was something I'll never forget.
Every once in a while, that old SNL skit pops up in popularity, and every time it comes up, I think of the party. Like I can't. Yeah, that was a rocking party.
And the best thing was like right before y'all left, you like did this impromptu number where you came out in the wig one more time, and it was like,
oh, did I?
It was like an encore.
You did. It was amazing.
So great. So I just wish that I would have like captured that on video. So good.
Well, we've still got the wig and the shawl in our closet, Nakia. So maybe he'll bring it with him next time we visit.
And I've got a few more wigs now.
Shawls.
A year as Darla Dane.
Darla Dane.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, Nakia, while we've got you in the hot seat, we got to ask, what, as hard as this question maybe is, what is your favorite movie moment of all time?
You know, it might be hard, I guess, but I would say that it did come to me pretty quickly when you ask. Yesterday was Tim Curry's 75th birthday, and it's been on my mind all week because of that. And it has to be the moment that Frankenfurter comes down the elevator for the first time and steps out and goes into Sweet Transvestite, because, it really did. I think what I said on Twitter was something to the effect of, I had never been moved in that level of emotional, that place emotionally, and simultaneously like transported somewhere that I really, really like wanted to be, that I had never heard of before, So for me, that movie and that moment, that's kind of like my Star Wars, like that was like everything after that. I was like, God, could it be as good as this? Like that was so awesome, and I just fell in love with it. So it's a no-brainer for me.
Awesome. That's such a good pick, and I will 100% co-sign it for very personal reasons. I know that's a movie that you and my boyfriend Scott love quite a bit, and I met him. I met him through you, but I met him through you and are like coming down to do like the Rocky Horror Picture Midnight shows. So it's one of those things where if it wasn't for that movie, like my life would be very, very different right now in not great ways. So on a very personal level, like 100% co-signed.
That's funny that you brought that up too, Will, because thinking about, kind of like the life of this podcast and just all of us together. You met Brad and Jim the first time because they were visiting while you were visiting to see me play live
at Batfest. Yes, it was. Yeah,
that's right.
Front row at Batfest. Is that Adam West or is that not Adam West? You remember that?
And that was the night we then go to Kirby Lane. And who did you invite along, Nakia?
Scott.
That was the dinner where I met Scott, and here we are a decade later. Like
that's amazing.
So it was like it definitely is one of those like tying it back to like a movie thing, like sliding doors moments.
Right?
Like everything came into like this perfect kismet to like make this moment right here.
Oh my gosh! And then not long after that, we started a podcast. Steve, who's still in the chat, says it's like Movie Bears podcast. This is your life.
Aww.
So true. That's so true.
The clean, the safe for work version.
Right.
Yeah.
The rest is for MBP After Dark. That's that's available elsewhere. But hey, Nakia, I know you have your hands in a lot of different things, which is amazing.
Just my sports.
Oh. Need to see more of that later.
That little prop.
Nakia, where can folks maybe connect with you online if they want to get plugged into maybe your music or what you've been up to with Sidekick? How can they do that?
Well, there's two ways. So the easiest way, obviously, that everybody knows, is to just go to nakia.net, right? Or follow me on some kind of social media where it's just Nakia at Nakia. Usually that's why I put it in as my name there. But then there's also there's something new that I'm doing, and it's just I've been just giving out my number for people to text. So if you want to text me, you can just text me at 512-729-5404. It's a number that's just set up for me to text with people, and so please do that. That'd be really rad. Send me a message, say hey, and we can stay in touch.
Rock on. Well, we'll definitely be looking forward, Nakia, to the next time that we have you on. But also the next time we get to see you in person now that we're vaccinated and things are becoming possible
last
again.
week. It was crazy, but it was fun. Disney does a great job of almost. I would say they did like the 90%. Disney was perfect. Like the people, all of the precautions. There's a little bit of lag there, but very random.
That's
wasn't
awesome.
Wasn't Mike there too?
Mike was there 2 days before us, so they left. They left Monday, Sunday night or Monday morning. We flew in Monday evening.
In fact, funny you mentioned that. Just got a message from Mike, and he says, "I forgot to mention we were just at Disney too."
Yeah.
So there you
You
go.
might say it's a small world after all.
Oh.
Yeah, never ride. We did not ride, but we were able to ride at every park, and we went to 3. We were able to ride something, at least one ride more than once, and sometimes 3 times.
That's amazing.
And those were all marquee rides. So, yeah,
I miss Disney. I want to get to Galaxy's Edge so bad. I think I'm waiting though, both for COVID to die down a little more, but like also these new lightsabers that are supposedly coming.
Yeah, but those are just going to be for the hotel guests. So
I know, but that's going to be like that's going to be.
Robert and I will full on do the hotel cruise. Like,
oh yeah,
the spaceship thing that'll happen for sure.
We'll all rent one big suite. We'll all rent one big suite and get our lightsabers out.
Oh my God, we can all, because it's supposed to be very immersive, right? So everybody will all have different, character names and stuff. It'll be rad.
I'll be Rad Cloud Dancer. I don't know. I got to figure out a cool Skywalker-esque name that's different. Maybe you guys can help me.
I'll be Lindo Wilrisian.
There you go.
There you go. I like that. I feel like my name is already very Star Wars sounding. So I don't know what else I would do to it. So I would just be like Master Nakia or something, like.
Oh, well, that's a different kind of thing, Nakia.
Yeah, maybe I should have thought that through.
Our assless chaps,
thank you so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure, Nakia. And yes, Chris, assless chaps, I think are totally appropriate at Disney, right?
Well, in the hotel, we can do anything we want.
If everybody's wearing them, they can't say no.
All right. Well, Nakia, thank you so much for joining us. It was a total blast. And hope we see you soon, handsome.
Awesome. Talk to you soon.
All right. We'll see you later. Bye, Nakia. Oh, man. I haven't stopped smiling for 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 17 seconds.
Yeah, it's like sincerely, like my face is like hurting from all the smiling. Nakia's the goods. Like, he's one of those people, like he's part of our COVID pod. And it's been really hard this last year for a lot of people. It's been hard for me. My anxiety is through the roof. And we had some really rough stuff happen here in Texas, kind of like just a month or so ago. And there was some stuff like, I had some medical stuff and we had some house emergencies all happening at the same time. And he like emerged through the snow to like come like rescue us and help us, like an absolute like class act. Like I can never stop saying enough great things about Nakia after just like he literally saved us in our time of need.
That's wonderful. I'm not surprised to hear that. And Nakia and his husband Rob, who is also just amazing. We miss them both so much. Two of the best people on the face of the planet you could ever hope to meet. So it doesn't surprise me, Will, to hear that they were able to help out. Well, speaking of amazing people,
we have more.
All right. Mike is distracting me with pictures of him holding a purple lightsaber like it's his penis.
I'm
into it.
Brad, we have a show.
Wait, what? No.
We have a show. We need to focus on the show. We need to talk about movie moments.
Okay, listen.
Purple lightsaber.
If he sends me his actual penis, I don't know that I will be able to continue with the show because I will be completely discombobulated in a good way. But yes, we do have some additional things that we want to share. We actually had some folks who submitted some videos to the show. Couldn't be with us in person, but they wanted to send some thoughts our way. So we're going to go ahead and share some of those videos. When we play the video, of course, you won't be able to see or hear us while the video is playing, but we'll be back and we'll chat a little bit about what we heard and saw. So here we go, fellas. Here's our first video from Mary K. Meadows. Hi, Mary.
Hey Bears, happy 400th episode. Mary and Parker here. My favorite is when you do like your favorites of the year before. So your favorites of 2020, because that helps me know what movies I should watch. Parker, what was your favorite thing they talked about?
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo!
Oh my gosh, Parker, right up my alley, friends. Scooby-Doo was such an awesome movie. So glad we got to talk about that. So much fun.
Oh, first of all, thank you, Mary. Thank you, Parker. Like, we love putting together like the lists and talking about them. I'm glad that you're able to find like some good picks out of them. It's fun for us because it's a good little like recap of the year. But yeah, Scooby-Doo is a lot of fun to talk about, especially because of where it fell. You know, again, we've talked about this last year being pretty tough for a lot of people, and Scooby-Doo was one of those first few movies that decided to shift from like, well, we can't do theatrical, so let's do a home live release. And it was so nice to be able to see a new movie and talk about new movies. It was, I mean, I think that, you know, it was our lifeblood as we kind of kept this show going through those early days of the pandemic. So, yeah, Scooby-Doo.
It's the second time this week Scoob has the new Scoob movie has come up for me. Like, I was watching a doc series called Wall Street about Mark Wahlberg, and he did a voice in that movie, and he was doing the voice as they were doing the documentary. So we got to see him doing some of that.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Chris, did you see the new Scoob movie?
Was this the one that like focused on Blue Falcon and Dynamite?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I wound up doing that. So that was a nice surprise.
Definitely super cute. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. But Mary, Parker, thank you so much for saying hi and sharing some of your favorites with us. We've got another video here.
These are fun.
Yes, they are. And I think this one will be especially fun. Let's head over to our next video.
Oh shit. Oh hey. Sorry, just taking a little nap. Let me put a shirt on real quick. Anyway, yeah, it's Hammy here, Eric, and just wanted to say congratulations on 400 episodes, and here's the 400 more. Love you guys.
Oh, that was amazing.
Jim, for anyone who was not able to see what happened, if they're listening audio only, what happened there?
First of all, it was completely charming. I think he was sleeping when he decided he was going to record our greeting for our 400th episode, and he had happy 400th episode, I think, on printed on his torso as he stands up and pulls his shirt over. And then, that was amazing. That was awesome.
My favorite thing was how the O in episode was his belly button. Hammy, you just made my whole freaking year with that video. We love and adore you. Thank you so much.
We love Hammy. He's one of the people who is most here on our live episodes, like tuning in live with us. He also does a killer show of his own, the Find Your Film podcast. Amazing show. They do some deep dives on some films that if you maybe haven't heard of or that are just freshly coming out. So another one of like our podcasting family that you should be checking out.
Oh, completely agree. Speaking of the Find Your Film podcast, guys, I got another video for you.
Oh, no.
Are you ready?
Bring it on.
Bring it.
Here we go.
Andrew, what is the name of this bear?
William, I think. Yeah, William.
William, yeah. Where did this bear come from?
Midsommar.
And what is Midsommar? What is it?
A movie?
So would you say this is a movie bear?
Oh, Dad.
If only this bear also had a friend named Jim and Brad.
Oh,
Bears pod.
guy, he's X.
Love you guys.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's so good.
The William Bear did come up at one time, right? Didn't we see something on that? And I thought he was going to ask him what happened and what happened to that bear in the movie.
I remember they had these like A24 made this like custom like set of like these bears from Midsummer, and Bruce like is incredibly crafty and was able to like make one, like he made a movie bear, and so it was great. This little bear named William from Midsummer, the movie bear. It ties so well in together, and I love that he got to dad pun in the middle of it too. Like
right,
that connects with my heart as well. So love it.
I just love that Andrew was like, he gave me no context whatsoever. I hate that guy.
I disavow this message.
Oh, Dad.
Oh man, so good. Well, Bruce, thank you so much for that amazing video. Man, I think my smile muscles are going to be sore tomorrow, guys. I feel it already. Yeah.
Yep.
Hope I don't need my jaw for anything.
Need a face muscle relaxer.
Oh boy. All right. Well, fellas, we've got one more video to share before we wrap up our 400th celebration episode. Here is a gentleman who lives very, very far away, who we just do not get to see enough of. But boy, is it nice to see him pop up on the show again. Here we go.
Hey, Movie Bears. Happy 400th episode. None of you look a day over 300. Happy to represent from Down Under as your bonus Fantastic Fest correspondent for 2018 and 2019. I'm happy to be back next year at the festival. It's given me everything from Parasite to Bat Pussy. From the boy band antics of I Used to Be Normal to the thinly disguised Pizza Hut ad with Dog Death and Crocodile of the Pool. Big love to Will, who's my fantastic host, and to Brad and Jim. It's been great catching up with you when the time zones have allowed. Onward to the next 400.
Oh my God. It's awesome seeing Simon again.
Oh man. Hearing him say bad pussy is pretty much the best thing ever.
There was one of the Fantastic Fests, there was a secret screening, and the movie was like a repertory film called Bat Pussy. And it was like the main thing, it was like sort of like a softcore exploitation style film of this girl like in a kind of a Batman outfit, like on one of those big like bouncy balls that you kind of bounce on, like, and that forever it like imprinted on my brain. Not is the movie, but is Simon coming out of that going like, what the fuck did I just watch? What was that?
Something you'll probably never see again at a Fantastic Fest. ever.
I mean, also fair, yeah, given that.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. That somebody halfway around the world would take the time out to do that. I also heard that he was on some kind of TV show over there.
Yeah.
Yes,
he was.
What do you know about that? The Mastermind or something?
Mastermind. It's like a trivia show where they pick a specialty, so you have to whatever your specialty is and ask you questions about that, and then general knowledge. And he I don't know, spoil if anyone's still watching it, but he may have done well.
Oh, he's a super smart guy.
He may have done well.
Yeah.
Yes, he is, and super handsome too. Simon, that angle that you filmed that, I'm just going to say it.
Babe, if we can get our hands on Australian Survivor, we can get our hands on this Mastermind episode, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure we could. I thought you were going to say get our hands on Simon, because I'd have been fine with that too. But sure, Mastermind, that too. Oh man. By the way, Hammy in chat, thank you for this, Hammy. Love and adoration. It says Bat Pussy is currently streaming on Pornhub, so if you want to check it out.
Well,
doing the Lord's work.
All right. Oh man.
Pornhub just became a legitimate streaming site for me.
Has been for me for a while.
Business expense.
Right? There you go. Can we write a Pornhub premium subscription off for taxes for the podcast?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, let's do it.
Research, baby, research.
I and all my tax expertise approve it.
Oh, there we go. Well, this has been a monster-sized show, but it's been so great just catching up with folks. Really, really cool movie moments. I have a whole list now of films that I want to revisit. Thanks to having everybody on the show. Also, a whole lot of comments were coming out in the chat. We weren't able to keep up with all of them, but several folks shared, some of their thoughts, some of their picks as well. Thank you so much. It's funny. 8 years ago, when we were looking at doing our first show, I remember how nervous, Jim, you and I were to do this, and how we were like, God, I don't know that we're going to get through 5 episodes, much less, 20. Then we met Will, and we got Will involved, and we got Chris involved, and it just really took off from there. So Jim, Will, Chris, just personally for me, you've made the last 8 years some of the best in my life. Just chatting movies with you guys and getting to hang out, whether it's online or at pool parties, holding on to each other as Daenerys does terrible things that we just don't want her to do, on Game of Thrones, to film festivals, just all of it. You really bring a lot to my life, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Well, babe, I don't have to probably don't have to say everything you bring to my life, which is about everything. But I really appreciate you, coming in and doing a show like this, which is kind of more aligned. I've had a love of movies for as long as I can remember, and I know you have too. And just to make this something special that we can share along with Will and Chris and the others is just an awesome part of my life.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it. At this point, we've been doing this for 8 years, and yeah, we skip a week here and there, but for the most part, it's every week, and it never feels to me like we're going through the motions. It always feels like, oh, I'm excited to talk about whatever it is, to the point where our episodes are long because we like talking to each other about movies. I don't think we could do a 15 to 30 minute quick micro episode because it's not what we like to do. We like to just we like to chat with each other. So I'm looking forward to the next 400 as we talk about, countless hours about countless more movies, whatever else is to come. I'm so excited for us to be on that journey together.
Amen.
Even though I'm special guest star, definitely had a lot of great moments getting the show set up and hanging out with you. And anytime I get to spend any time with you, either on the show or in person, it's always special. And you guys are really close friends. So thanks for having me on today.
We love you, Chris. Please say hi to Jason for us as well. Fellas, just in case anybody wants to chat with us between now and next week when we do our Mortal Kombat episode. By the way, we're going to have a couple of special guests from the Big Fat Gay Podcast coming on board to help us out with that episode. So stay tuned for that. But Jim, where can people find and interact with you online?
Mostly on Twitter at JJP Out West. You'll find that right here. And it's my initials, JJP Out West, all one word. That's where I go on and talk about film and how film affects me and how I see it in the world.
All right. Excellent. And Will, how about you?
There's three main places you can find me. I am on Twitter at Whatever Cove. If you're watching live right now, it's right beneath my chin. If you want to find me on Facebook, I'm William Lindis there. Just send me a request first. It helps me know that you're a real person and not a bot. There's so many of those right now. And then the other place is letterboxd.com. It's a site used for like ranking film and making lists and reviews and all sorts of different things, user generated, lots of fun. I post a lot there. I've logged everything since we've started the show on Letterboxd. So if you want to follow me there, please do so. I will follow you back.
All right, excellent. And Chris, where can people interact with you?
On Twitter, I'm at OsoArt. Mostly posting about comic stuff and my comic show, Cake Chicago. Recently I was published in an art journal, so that was kind of cool too.
Congratulations.
No big deal. That's a small thing.
First time for me, so I was really excited about it.
It's amazing.
I was being sarcastic, but that's what I meant. That's a huge thing that you just kind of downplay. Like, well, recently.
I was just in an art journal, but it's like
this is a movie podcast. It's not about comics, so I didn't want to take up too much time.
But it's about you. It's about you. If people want to find said art journal, Chris, how can they do so?
It's called Spiny Orb Weaver #2. Spiny Orb Weaver is a type of spider that you find in Florida. So this is an art journal that's specific to South Florida art. And so I'm featured in a small comic. And the main feature is by Drew Lerman. And there is an essay by Rob Clow there as well.
That's so awesome. Congratulations, friend. So freaking proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
And my Michigan accent just came out when I said slow.
Let's hear it again. One more time.
So
proud of you.
So proud of you. Yes, Peter Lovins in the chat says, yes, Chris, you rock. Completely agree with that. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us in this just wonderful episode. It really recharged some of my batteries to hear from so many great folks and have our wonderful guests on. So grateful to them for making time to pop on and say hi and share with us. Looking forward again to our episode next week where we're going to review Mortal Kombat, and we're going to have Michael and Don on board from the Big Fat Gay Podcast. So we're excited to sit down and chat with them. Will, Jim, Chris, we'll see you all when we see you next time, next recording, next in-person thing, wherever it is. It's got to be soon. Bye, fellas.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye, all.